Welcome back. We've covered the economics of stolen credentials, the dangers of password reuse, and the technical mechanics of credential stuffing at scale. Now we want to talk about what happens after an attacker successfully logs in with your stolen credentials. This is where credential stuffing transitions from abstract threat to concrete harm. We'll review how attackers move from initial access to complete account takeover and what they do with that. When an attacker successfully authenticates with stolen credentials, they have a limited window to act before detection or remediation. Their first priority is confirming the account value. They quickly assess what type of account they've compromised, what access it provides, whether it has stored payment methods or valuable data, and what level of privileges or access rights it contains. This assessment happens within minutes. Automated systems categorize the account and determine the appropriate exploitation strategy based on account type and value before doing anything else that might trigger alerts. Sophisticated attackers establish persistence mechanisms to maintain access even if the victim changes their password. They add recovery email addresses they control. Most services allow adding secondary email addresses for account recovery. The attacker adds their own email, and now they can reset the password anytime they want, even after the victim changes it. They add phone numbers for SMS recovery and MFA. Similar to email recovery, many services allow adding backup phone numbers. The attacker adds a number they control, giving them another password reset pathway. They create application-specific passwords. Many services allow generating passwords for specific applications that remain valid even when the main password changes. Attackers generate these and store them for continued access. They enable additional authentication methods they control. If the service supports authenticator apps, they may add their own authenticator. If it supports security keys, they might add a key they control. They create API tokens or access keys if the service offers them. These often have long expiration periods and aren't invalidated by password changes. Once persistence is established, attackers conduct reconnaissance within the compromised account to understand what they have access to and how to maximize value. In email, they're going to be searching for keywords indicating finances, crypto, password reset, and anything confidential and personal. They'll work to identify relationships and communication patterns that they can exploit for any number of reasons. If they've gotten into a bank account, they check the account balances, verify the transaction limits, and review the linked accounts and transfer capabilities, and they check for stored beneficiary information. In e-commerce accounts, they'll check for the stored payment methods, the gift card balances, the loyalty points with monetary value, and subscription services they can exploit or resell. In social media, they assess follower counts, engagement levels for resale value, check for connected accounts that could be compromised, and look for private information useful for extortion or identity theft. This reconnaissance informs the monetization strategy. High-value accounts get immediate exploitation. Lower-value accounts might be held for future use or sold to other criminals. Getting the email account where you can reset other passwords from and things like that creates a cascading takeover so that they can compromise dozens of accounts in a matter of hours or less. Your email account can become the skeleton key that unlocks everything else. Attackers also monitor email accounts for high-value opportunities. They watch for wire transfer notifications, crypto transaction confirmations, travel itineraries indicating if you're away from home, and business communications they can exploit for fraud. While banking and financial accounts are exploited for immediate monetary gain, attackers have to be careful to avoid detection. They start with small test transactions to verify the account is functional and determine if the transactions trigger alerts. If those succeed without triggering blocks, then they escalate to larger withdrawals or transfers. They'll transfer money to other accounts they control or to crypto exchanges or payment services that are difficult to trace. They'll make purchases, have goods shipped to drop addresses where accomplices receive and fence items. They'll drain gift card balances and sell the codes online. And they'll exploit lines of credit or overdraft protection for additional theft. Speed is the key. Attackers try to extract the maximum value within the first few hours of access. When attackers compromise corporate email accounts, they often pursue business email compromise schemes rather than direct financial theft. They monitor email for several days or weeks, learning about business relationships, payment processes, pending transactions, and communication patterns. And they identify opportunities where they can divert payments or manipulate transactions. Business email compromise generates enormous profit. profits. Individual incidents can result in hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in fraudulent transfers. The FBI reports billions of dollars in losses annually, every year, from these attacks. Attackers also search email for messages containing passwords, security question answers, account numbers, or other authentication information. They find browser-stored passwords if they've compromised the device itself. They exploit linked accounts that allow authentication through the compromised account. Each compromised account potentially leads to additional compromises, creating a chain of exploitation that extends far beyond the initial credential stuffing success. Attackers use compromised accounts to launch social engineering attacks against the victim's contacts. They send phishing emails from the victim's email account. They send messages to friends and followers from social media accounts. They target coworkers from corporate accounts with internal phishing attempts to bypass the security, and they work to use each opportunity to grow their reach. And once they have the data, they might use it for later use or sale. Sometimes people are just grabbing data and they don't have any interest in doing anything with it. It's all about selling it to others who will take the risk of doing something with it. They might download email archives containing years of communication. They might copy cloud storage files, including documents, photos, and sensitive information, extract contact lists and social graphs, and of course capture any credentials or authentication information they find along the way. The data has so many different uses. Personal information enables identity theft. Business information can be sold to competitors. Embarrassing or sensitive information can be used for extortion and blackmail. Contact lists enable further phishing campaigns. There's a relevant observation from the security researcher Dan Kaminsky, who said in a presentation on internet security, "Complexity is the enemy of security. Every additional feature, every additional option, every additional integration point is another potential vulnerability. And the most complex part of any system is the human using it." Kaminsky's insight explains why account takeover is so effective. Modern online accounts are incredibly complex. They have recovery methods, linked accounts, API access, application passwords, third-party integrations, and dozens of other features designed for convenience and functionality. Each of these features is a potential persistence mechanism for attackers. Each integration point is a potential pathway to other accounts. The complexity that makes these things useful makes them even more difficult to secure. Let's think about detection indicators, some signs that might indicate your account has been compromised. You receive password reset emails you didn't request, login notifications from unfamiliar locations. You notice missing emails or modified folder structures. You find emails in your sent folder you didn't send. You discover new recovery email addresses or phone numbers you didn't add. Your contacts report receiving suspicious messages from you. You see unauthorized transactions or account changes. Any of these indicators warrants immediate investigation and comprehensive remediation, not just a password change. For organizations, when corporate accounts are compromised, the impact extends throughout the organization. The compromised account provides internal network access, enabling lateral movement to other systems and accounts. It provides intelligence about org structure, processes, and vulnerabilities, and it creates that beachhead for ransomware deployment or data theft operations. Understanding account takeover tactics should inform your defensive approach. Enable MFA multi-factor authentication on all important accounts. It does not prevent credential stuffing, but significantly increases the difficulty of exploiting compromised credentials. Regularly audit account recovery methods. Check that all recovery email addresses and phone numbers are yours and current. Remove any you don't recognize. Monitor account activity for unusual access. Use unique passwords for every account. And if you suspect compromise, perform comprehensive remediation, not just a password change. Now, our final lesson in this section is going to cover how they evade detection and maintain long-term persistent access. We'll just go a little bit more into that. We'll talk about the techniques they use to operate in compromised accounts without triggering security alerts, and why many account compromises remain undetected for extended periods.